Welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Clive Myrie. In the news this week, following an appearance at a right-wing conference in the US, Liz Truss is awoken bright and early after a night on the sparkling wine.
There you go. Hey.
On runway 2 at Heathrow, as immigration officers close in, a cunning stowaway tries to make a break for it. And in North Korea, a TV documentary offers a rare insight into the home life of Kim Jong-un's personal trainer. On Ian's team tonight is the BBC's first ever disinformation specialist and the target of over 80% of the BBC's online abuse. Let's see how that stacks up after I'm done tonight. Please welcome Mariana Spring. On Paul's team tonight is a comedian who took Hispanic studies at university, but dropped out after a year and a half when he realized there was only one element he was really good at, the siesta. Please welcome John Richardson. And we begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Ian and Mariana, take a look at this.
Oh, that's the biggest threat to Israel. Is that British arms or is that aid?
Looking a bit like weapons. And that's Joe Biden not falling down the stairs?
Not yet.
Not yet.
This is the belated realisation that perhaps Israel's war isn't entirely proportionate or targeted. The tipping point of the war is now that 3 British aid workers have been killed, whereas 30,000 Palestinians have been killed in the war. It's grim but true. If you kill people who aren't Palestinians, then it suddenly becomes unacceptable. But it might be a turning point.
How has Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu explained the deadly strike?
By basically saying it was an accident,
Yeah.
it wasn't deliberate.
These things happen in war, didn't they?
Yeah, the fog of war.
It's not very good. I mean, the head of the Israeli army actually apologised. But Netanyahu, no. I mean, there are huge rallies against Netanyahu in Israel at the moment.
I mean, he said the attack on the aid convoy was a mistake that followed misidentification. So what is significant about President Biden's reaction to the attack?
Well, America has supported Israel's right to defend itself all the way through, but that is now changing. He said that enough's enough and Israel have got to change the way they pursue the war.
Yeah, he said in a statement that he was outraged and heartbroken.
He's so furious, he's just signed a new arms shipment. And that's cross.
Staying with the situation in Gaza, here's the 81-year-old US president speaking at the White House in February.
There's some movement. There's been a response from there's been a response from the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas.
Can remember the name of Hamas. In the interest of balance, I should make it clear that his rival for the presidency, 77-year-old Donald Trump, also seems to be losing his marbles. Trump was quick to come up with an explanation as to why he'd said Obama instead of Biden. He's certainly got a wide range of voices.
But when I say Barack Hussein Obama, the president of our country, on the news that night they go, Donald Trump didn't know the name of our president. He said it was President Obama. It's President Biden. So I have to be very, very careful.
Yes, indeed, or people might realize you're clinically insane. As many as 70% of Americans have said that they don't want a Biden-Trump rematch, the oldest people to run for the presidency in US history. So why are we here with 2 old-timers once again battling it out?
It's a very simple answer, 3:30.
We don't care. What time dinner?
Okay, who stepped forward to offer a third option to lead the
Is it me, Trent?
States of...
I could keep this up all programme.
A man in Texas intends to run for president and in preparation has legally changed his name to literally anyone else. That's good. Donald Trump has had a few cash flow problems recently, having to post a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case. What fashion item is he selling to raise a few dollars?
The Bible.
The gold trainers.
Gold trainers and the Bible.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
It's turning into Frankie Howard.
I know.
No, yes. Oh, dear.
Yeah, high-top gold sneakers costing $399. Here they are, emblazoned with a gold T. The sales blurb accompanying them online says they shout out to the brave and the free. The never surrender sneakers. They're a rally cry in shoe form. Both candidates put out Easter messages. Joe Biden's read to all those gathering in churches and homes around the world today. Happy Easter. May God bless and keep you. And here's Donald Trump's. Happy Easter to all, including crooked and corrupt prosecutors and judges that are doing everything possible to interfere with the presidential election of 2024 and put me in prison, including those many people that I completely and totally despise because they want to destroy America, a now failing nation. Happy Easter, everyone.
I sometimes wonder whether on Truth Social he can only write in capitals. It's almost like it's a setting. Like he only writes exclusively in capitals.
He's just got to shout, man. Yeah. He's just got to shout.
Yeah, it's just his style now, though. It's like he always types in capitals, so now maybe you just read it like he's not shouting.
Like he's not shouting, right. But normal people use caps as well, don't they, when they want to emphasise
At the beginning of words, Clive.
I think he will write in capitals because he can't do joined-up letters yet. So, I know what it is.
As it's the first of a new series, guess what I've got for you?
Have we got custom-made Bibles? Have I got good news for you?
Wow! Yes. Yes. Actually, it's a bonus odd one out.
Bonus odd one out?
Your four are Rishi Sunak, Humza Yousaf, Vaughn Gething, and Vladimir Putin.
Putin is the only one who's won an election.
Absolutely right. The odd one out is Vladimir Putin, and he's the only one of the four to have faced a popular vote. He won a landslide victory in Russia's recent general election, a result announced just a few minutes before the election actually took place. I'm just wondering, anyone know why Putin defecates into a briefcase?
Oh.
I just thought I'd throw that one out
I don't
there.
know. Why does Putin defecate into a briefcase?
Has this happened to you personally? Yeah. I met him and he was lovely.
Yeah, he was all right.
Well, according to an article in Paris Match magazine, when he's abroad, his bodily waste is placed in a dedicated briefcase for the journey home, leaving nothing behind that could be analysed to give away anything about his health. So there you go. There you go. This is Joe Biden's increasing...
That's the most incredible use of there you go. Just there you go. He shits in a briefcase, no more questions, thank you very much.
Does he take a suitcase with him in case he gets diarrhoea? Oh, yeah, blame me. It's him the one that's having a shit in a bloody briefcase.
Before we move on from some of the grimmer news, let's take a moment to admire a masterly tonal gear change by BBC Breakfast's John Kay.
It looks very much like there'll be fewer showers and it will be a bit drier.
Oh, Carol, thank you.
I'd love to say it's my homework, Sal, but sadly...
It is. It is, totally is. It's 17 minutes past 6. Now, machetes.
Paul and John, have a look at this.
Good to have a trade to fall back on. Early pilot for Deal or No Deal.
Yes, this is about the election, which will be sometime this year, and the latest polls are suggesting that the Conservatives are going to lose quite badly, and up to 11 cabinet ministers may lose their seats.
100% correct.
Yeah.
This is the recent disastrous polling for Rishi Sunak that suggests the Conservatives could be reduced to fewer than 100 seats at the next general election. Spot on.
Not that many. I'm hoping for none. You'll have to verify this for bias.
All you've got to do is lie constantly, get every big decision wrong, decimate people's lives, and after about 15 years, people go, that'll do, that's enough of that.
Obviously, certain sections of the lefty media will be biased against the Conservatives, so let's give their supporters a voice, shall we? Here's the monthly popularity chart of cabinet ministers conducted by the Conservative Home website. All right, pot pickers, let's go.
I don't know who Michael Tomlinson is, but 39.5 people seem to dislike him.
No, I mean, this is all those lefties in the Conservative Party who don't like their own MPs. And the most unpopular of all, well, the one is the Prime Minister. Despite all he's done, I mean, this week he was out on local radio.
Yeah.
He goes out and someone says, well, when's the election? He goes, ha, 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 ha. That's it.
He just obviously doesn't care. And if he's laughing like in an interview, what is he like at home?
Yeah.
If his wife's out, have you put the bins out? Like...
I quite like the way he's ruling out the election day sort of one by one. It's
Yes.
But it's not this day, but it could be any of the other 364.
The fact is, a record 11 cabinet members have a negative rating, and poor Michael Tomlinson, minus 39.5. Would you like to see him presenting himself as an ordinary bloke on Sky News?
But I do enjoy watching sport, and if you want to ask me about cricket or sport, then please do.
Who's your football team?
My football, I don't really have a football team.
So you're not a sports fan, really?
I'm a cricket fan.
Okay.
I love sport, and I enjoy
Yeah.
watching sport. But it'd be wrong to tell you that I have a football team. I've been to Bournemouth, I've been to various other grounds, but I don't have a specific football team. No.
Okay, it's good to see.
Wimborne Town Football Club.
Okay.
There we go,
Okay.
Wimborne Town.
Okay, what was their last result?
I couldn't tell you that. The last result that I was there was a very exciting. Lots of goals were scored, and it was a 1-1 draw.
He's done well to get minus 39, really, hasn't he?
And people, they still can't seem to disguise their feeling about Jeremy Hunt.
The Labour leader is the latest to criticise the government for using taxpayers' money to compensate for a minister's mistake after the Science Secretary, Michelle Donnellan, falsely accused an academic of supporting Hamas. She spoke to Mr Hunt. Mr Hunt, how did he respond to calls for her to resign?
Have you frozen it just at the point when she realises what she said? And while he's thinking to himself, is this going out live?
Mariana, who's been doing the spearfishing?
Fishing with a PH rather than an F, I believe. And I think it's a lot of MPs who've been getting explicit photos sent to them, which are sort of like a fishing trap to try and get them to reply and then maybe get pictures of them or get them to send photos back.
So it's a sting?
It's a sting. It's like a scam. It's a way of trying to get people's personal details or get them to share stuff with you. And there seem to be quite a few MPs who've been targeted with it.
Right.
Well, I think some people are sending really revolting pictures of potholes and saying, could you sort this out?
It always baffles me that men choose to send... It's the last thing I show anyone.
But you do show it. But it's the last thing.
Yeah,
It makes an appearance eventually.
Yeah. Gentlemen. These are the curtains in my back bedroom. And now, star of the show.
Moving swiftly on.
Yes.
What about the exciting
Yeah.
new Reform Party? How many seats are they predicted to gain at the next election?
Well, they're about just on polling the same amount as the Tories. Is that right?
No, none.
None?
According to the
Oh,
poll.
thank goodness for the electoral system.
Yes. According to the poll, they're expected to finish second in 7 seats.
Wow.
As the Lib Dems look on enviously. And this is despite Reform's newest recruit, Lee Anderson.
Oh. He's great, isn't he? I'm sure he's a glove puppet. There can't be a human being like that. I mean, he just comes out with the most ridiculous load of nonsense.
He's usually referred to as Leanderthal.
Did you see the interesting way Sophie Ridge introduced him?
Also tonight, one of the Conservative Party's most prominent MPs from the 2019 intake, Lee Anderson, defects to Reform UK as one of the last pricks in the so-called Tory Red Wall has crumbled away.
Clearly, broadcasters feel it's not going to be Conservative government for much longer.
No. They're getting a bit demob happy, aren't they?
And she didn't even correct herself. Who is the leadership candidate coming up quietly on the rails?
Nigel Farage.
No, according to the Times, Priti Patel. Apparently, 2 MPs have spoken approvingly of her.
And that was looking in the mirror.
Yes. And who's secretly behind Priti Patel?
Apparently Liz Truss is backing Priti Patel, but Priti Patel obviously doesn't want anyone to know that. That's the end of your campaign.
Ian, you are right. Liz Truss. Liz and the Popcons. They're actually a group called Popular Conservatism.
Yes, there's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
What's their master plan?
They're trying a few last-minute ideas, criminalising the homeless, which is going to apply to a lot of them quite soon.
What they want to do is install a Liz Truss-style leader. Who isn't Liz Truss? One insider told The Telegraph for the party to change the leader now would be insane.
So they'll do it.
Well, who has been giving the Conservatives some bad news? The eccentric boffin and election egghead, Professor Sir John Curtis. He's declared that there's a 99% chance of a Labour government at the next election.
Wow.
Who are some of the rising stars of the Labour Party?
Angela Rayner. But, ooh, what about the council tax? You're not going to believe this. Angela Rayner may have fiddled up to £1,500 on her council tax, says a book published by Lord Ashcroft, who avoided £112 million when he was a non-dom. I think that means she's guilty.
Allegedly.
I can feel that you're walking this tightrope, Clive, reading the 10 o'clock news or the Job Centre, and you're just walking down the middle.
Yeah, this is the unofficial countdown to the general election. Former Defence Minister Ben Wallace attempted to rally Tory MPs by saying there comes a moment in the electoral cycle where you put on your best suit, stand up and march towards the sound of the guns. And after that, Ben, you put on your spangly catsuit and you go on Strictly. Rishi Sunak sneaked out a quick honours list over Easter, according to The Guardian. A businessman who donated £5 million to the Conservative Party was unexpectedly given a knighthood. Unexpectedly, because at no point had he been quoted as saying he wants to shoot a black woman.
The thing, I mean, Rishi Sunak, this is specifically not allowed. I mean, I don't understand why both Mr. Mansour, who used to be an Egyptian cabinet minister under a very autocratic regime, he has come to Britain, given the Tories a huge amount of money, and he immediately gets a knighthood. That seems to me straightforwardly corrupt. Shouldn't they both be in jail? I asked that as a question. I have no idea what the answer is.
And so, to round 2, the jazzed-up jigsaw of news. Fingers on the buzzers, teams. Ah.
This is this statue of Prince Philip that was outside Cambridge University. I think it's called the Don or something like that. And everyone was very upset about it because they thought it was very ugly and they didn't like it. And it's now being taken down.
What do you think of it?
It looks like one of the Dementors.
Who's taken issue with the statue?
Everybody, I would have thought.
In 2014, it was refused planning permission from Cambridge City Council, who called it possibly the poorest quality work that has ever been submitted to the council. So what's going to happen to it now?
I'll have it.
You'll have it? Yeah?
You'd get 50 grand for it, wouldn't you, just selling it on? Someone will have that tat, won't they?
The property development firm who commissioned it, they say they would put it somewhere else where it will be appreciated, i.e. the tip. Why has a sculpture of Sir Paul McCartney been in the news recently?
It must be another bad sculpture. I mean, it wouldn't be in the news if it was a good one.
There you go. Artist Wilfred Wood claims a clay sculpture he made of the Beatle was banned by Sir Paul's record company for being too unflattering. See what you think. Paul, this gives us a perfect excuse to bring up one of Wilfred's earlier works.
But wasn't there one of Ian as well? Oh, haven't you bothered to get that one, Mr. Neutral?
We couldn't...
Oh, I can take it off the screen now.
Well, we haven't got Ian, but we've got Chris Whitty.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Buzzers on the teams, please.
Buzzers on the teams. Ah, yes, they've found some water and a load of shit. It's the dreadful case about how the state of our rivers and the seas are being heavily polluted by these water authorities. And the boat race last week, Cambridge versus Oxford, the same two teams reaching the final. There was... yeah, I think it was the Cambridge team who got very ill and they blamed it on sort of E. coli.
The water's so dirty you can't even dip your cocks in it anymore.
Yeah.
What has recently been discovered in a harbour near Portsmouth?
It's not all the money stolen by the water companies over the years, is it?
You say stolen?
Well, the water companies, since they were privatised, have basically just run up debt. They haven't built anything new, they haven't invested in anything. They've literally borrowed money in order to give it to their shareholders and to their investors. And again, I think this is theft.
They are blaming the fact that the rivers are becoming polluted through too much water.
It's raining too much,
yeah.
Which normally as a water authority would be good news.
Yes.
Because then you could fill up your reservoir. But literally in the middle of last week, a number of them announced hosepipe bans were going to come in later this year. I mean, the river's not the only thing full of shit. Yeah.
What was discovered near Portsmouth? Well, the marine biologist, Professor Alex Ford. Now, he and his team discovered that every single marine species living in the contaminated water was full of a variety of drugs, including cocaine. Now, here he is talking to Good Morning Britain about the discovery.
Yeah, so Alice, they're just asking about the cocaine that you've found. I mean, you're sampling these marine species and you're finding that what's in the sewage water ends up in those species.
Yeah, exactly. The drugs affect this wildlife in the same way that they do us. So if you give a fish a contraceptive pill, it starts to feminize. If you give crabs antidepressants, it changes their behaviour because those drugs were designed to change behaviour. So if you give them illegal drugs as well, it has very much the same effect it has on them that it would do on people as well.
Haddock are up all night. Planning to form production companies.
I like the idea of a crab on antidepressants.
Yeah.
So I finally realised I could have been walking forward all this time.
Yeah.
All this explains why the local branch of ITSU recently received a visit from a new quality control inspector. Did anyone see the BBC's environment correspondent, Jonah Fisher? He covered the sewage crisis on the BBC News at 10 last week. Anyone see that?
No, I don't watch it, though, to be honest.
No. Jonah Fisher, he visited a sewage treatment works in Surrey to get closer.
They're treating sewage? Let's go to the pictures.
More cocaine.
And I tell you what, when he went to the sewage works, he didn't mince his words.
We've seen, solids floating past.
Turds.
Yeah, turds.
This is the news that UK rivers are full of cocaine and sewage. So, good shit, bad shit. It was reported that in the village of Allenby in Cumbria, sewage was pumped out for 4,500 hours non-stop. A record matched only by GB News. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, Brew Your Own. the how-to magazine for homebrew beer. And we start with I never what before noon.
Oh, I know this one. I never talk before noon, says Lulu. She's going on a farewell tour at the age of 75 and her voice is in perfect condition and she never talks before noon to protect her voice, says Lulu.
Give that man 100 points! Yes,
You've been answering every question, Lulu, for 30 years.
Now it's paid off.
Next, what requires planning, dedication, and an understanding spouse?
Lulu! Threesomes. Planning, dedication, understanding spouse. Someone's got to make the tea.
Absolutely bloody everything after the age of 40.
It is going on a beer holiday to Dusseldorf requires planning, dedication, and an understanding spouse.
Yeah, but in certain circles, that's a euphemism for a threesome. Yeah, I'm going on a beer holiday to Dusseldorf. Just get at me later, Hosen.
And finally, Welsh woman spotted dangling upside down, 7 feet in the air, says what?
Get me down carefully.
Yes. There we are.
Welsh woman spotted dangling upside down, 7 feet in the air, says it could only happen to me. This is pensioner Anne Hughes from South Wales, who went viral recently. Here's the moment it all went wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some people are shoplifters, other people are lifted by shops.
And the final scores are Paul and John, 6 points. Ian and Mariana, 7 points.
Only because you're on this side.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Mariana have this.
Is that Putin's briefcase?
And Paul and John, you've got this.
This is the first time I've been on a beer trip to Dusseldorf.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Mariana Spring, Paul Merton and John Richardson. And I leave you with news that, on a field trip to the Cotswolds, a group of schoolchildren decide to keep stum after watching a goat urinate all over the spring onion patch. In Ashfield, an open-top bus driver desperately fights the urge to slam on the brakes. And at Crufts, it looks like there's a surefire winner for the title of most ambitious crossbreed. Good night.
Toe curling questions at 10:40. Michael Sheen, grilled by a neurodiverse audience, is an utter joy. The Assembly on BBC One. One not to avoid next. Romesh is back, still trying to win back his ex in the new series of Avoidance.